Okay, today we are going to read Shiloh Chapter 2. And I am really excited about this part of the book because two things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to see more factual evidence as to that country type slang and the way that they live and how it does not take place in present day. So you're going to be listening for evidence of that as I read today. And then number two, something's going to happen. So within our notice and note strategies, I have another one for you. Well, two things are going to happen. One thing is something's going to be said again and again and again and again. And why does this keep showing up again and again? And that's going to be something that I really want you to sit there and think about is like, why? Well, you have to see what they keep saying again and again. And then we'll talk about that. Well, I'll talk about it and pretend that you're here with me. Okay, so, and another thing is going to be words of the wiser, okay? And what's the life lesson and how might this affect the character? So, this is words of the wiser. It's backwards too, but you have superpowers because you're working from home. So, my question is, what happens when you don't agree with words of the wiser, the words of wisdom that you're receiving? That's going to happen in your real life. And that doesn't only just happen, that happens from me. You guys don't like some things that I say no to. Like, Miss Wyndham, can we have nap time? No! Words of the wiser. Do you agree with it? No! Do you think that we should have nap time? Probably in class, right? So there's different things that you're going to disagree with in life. So what happens when you disagree? Well, we're going to learn through Shiloh how our main character disagrees with, which I don't believe we've figured out his name yet. Anywho, but because it's told in first person, but he's going to disagree and we're going to see how he handles this. Okay. Sunday night supper is whatever's left from noon. If nothing's left over, Ma takes cold cornmeal mush, fries up big slabs, and we eat it with Caro syrup. But this night there's still rabbit. I don't want any, but I know Shiloh does. I wonder how long I can keep pushing that piece of rabbit around my plate. Not very long, I discover. You gonna eat that meat or you just gonna keep playing with it? Dad asks. If you don't want it, I'll take it for lunch tomorrow. I'll eat it, I say. Don't you be giving it to that dog, Ma says. I take a tiny bite. What's the doggy going to eat then? Asks Becky. She's 3, which is 4 years younger than Darylyn. Weird names. Nothing there, that's what, says Ma. Becky and Darylyn look at Dad. Now, I had them feeling sorry for the beagle, too. Sometimes girl children get what they want easier than I do. But not this time. I have to sneeze. Ooh, God bless me with students like you. Okay, so that's funny, though. It says, sometimes girl children get what they want easier than I do. So we know that he's a boy. And this is true for a lot of families, right? Girls know how to do certain tactics to get their way better than boys, right? So I would have to agree with this character's way of thinking. Dog's going right back across the river when we get through eating, Dad says. If that's Judd's new dog, he probably don't have sense enough yet to find his way home again. We'll put him in the Jeep and drive him over there. Don't know what else I figured Dad to say. Do I really think he's going to tell me to wait till morning? And if the beagle's still there, we can keep him? Again, the character's asking him a challenging question. I try all kinds of ways to figure out how I could get the rabbit meat off my plate and into my pocket, but Ma is watching every move I make. Ugh, I hate when people do that, don't you? So I excuse myself and go outside and over to the chicken coop. It's off toward the back where Ma can't see. We keep 3 hens, and I take one of the 2 eggs that was in the nest and carry it out behind the bushes. I whistle softly. Shiloh comes looping toward me. I crack the egg and empty it into my hands, hold my hands down low, and Shiloh eats the egg, licking my hands clean afterward, then curling his tongue between my fingers to get every little bit. Good boy, Shiloh, I whisper, and stroke him all over. I hear the back screen slam, and Dad comes out of the stoop. Marty? Okay, so that's character's name, Marty. Yeah, I go around, Shiloh at my heels. Let's take that dog home now. Dad goes over and opens the door of the Jeep. Shiloh puts his tail between his legs and just stands there. So I go around to the other side and get in and whistle. Shiloh leaps up to my lap, but he don't look too happy about it. For the first time, I have my arms around him. He feels warm. And when I stroke him, I can feel places on his body where he has ticks. Dogs has ticks, I tell my dad. Judd'll take him off, Dad says. What if he don't? It's his concern, Marty, not yours. It's not your dog. You keep to your own business. Okay, so this is something that Marty is obviously struggling with, really wanting to take Shiloh home and keeping Shiloh, right? And not returning him back to Judd. And he's very concerned that Judd does not take care of the puppies the way that he should. So with that being said, he's trying to convince his dad in weird ways to get his dad to think, no, we shouldn't be taking him home. Obviously, Marty does not like the advice he's getting from his dad, saying that they were going to keep to your own business, and it's not your dog, it's not your concern, it's Judd's concern. So things like that, and you could tell this is doing something to Marty, okay? So he says, I press myself against the back of the seat as we start down our bumpy dirt driveway toward the road. Okay, again, bumpy dirt driveway. So those are those country terms, those terms where a long time ago they didn't have paved streets everywhere. Now it's very rare to find a dirt road. So again, this is taking place some other time. Times were probably simpler. Moms stayed home. Dads were the primary caregivers, workers, whatever. Moms tended to the house and everything. So this is a good example of taking place in the country of West Virginia, within the mountains, right? And meaning country is meaning that it's that houses aren't very close together. There's not a lot of businesses. It's just homes, residences, and a small town of gathering and stuff. So, anyways, so the dirt road is another key clue that's when it takes place. That does not take place today. I want to be a vet someday, I tell my dad. He says, I want to be a traveling vet. The kind that has his office in a van and goes around to people's homes. Don't make folks come to him. Read about it in the magazines at school. Okay, so again, magazines at school, that's something that we just don't really have anymore. And mainly it's because a lot of this information is accessed through the internet today. You know what you have to do to be a vet, Dad asks? Go to school. I know that. You've got to have college training, like a doctor almost. Takes a lot of money to go to veterinarian school. Okay, so Dad is kind of killing his dream. Again, words of wisdom. And is it technically words of wisdom if you don't agree with it, or if it stings you, if it's something against, if it's not uplifting and encouraging? Or is Dad just trying to teach his son that college costs a lot of money? You got to be prepared for that. Says, my dream sort of leaks out like water in a paper bag. Good simile there, right? So his dream just kind of empties out of him. I could be a veterinarian's helper, I suggest, my second choice. You maybe could, said Dad, and points to the Jeep up the road into the hills. Dusk is settling in now. Still warm, though, a warm July night. Trees look dark against the red sky. Lights coming on in a house here, another one there. I'm thinking how in any one of these houses, there's probably somebody who would take better care of Shiloh than Judd Travers. How come this dog had to be his? The author just keeps asking him these challenging questions again and again and again. The reason I don't like Judd Travers is a whole lot of reasons. Not the least is that I was in the corner store once, down in Friendly, and saw Judd cheat Mr. Wallace at the cash register. Judd gives the man a 10 and gets him talking. Then, when Mr. Wallace gives him change, he says he gave him a 20. I blink, like I can't believe Judd did that. And old Mr. Wallace is all confused. So I say, no, I think he gave you a 10. Judd glares at me, whips out his wallet, and waves a $20 bill in front of my eye. Whose picture's on this bill, boy? He says. I don't know. He gives me a look and says, I thought so. That's Andrew Jackson, he says. I had 2 of them in my wallet, and when I walked in here, now I only got 1. This man here's got the other one, and I want my change. Mr. Wallace, he's so flustered. He just digs in his money drawer and gives Judd change for a 20. And afterward, I thought, what did Andrew Jackson have to do with it? Judd's so fast talking, he can get away with anything. Don't know anybody who likes him much, but around here, folks keep to their own business, like Dad says. In Tyler County, that's important. Way it's always been, anyhow. Another reason I don't like Judd Travers is he spits tobacco out of the corner of his mouth. And if he don't like you, and he sure don't like me, he sees just how close he can spit to where you're standing. Third reason I don't like him is because he was at the fairgrounds last year, same day we were, and seemed like every place I was, he was in front of me, blocking my view. Standing in front of me at that mud bog, sitting in front of me at the tractor pole, and rising right up out of his seat at the Jordan Globe of Death Motorcycle Act. So, I missed the best part. Fourth reason I don't like him is because he kills out of deer season. He says he don't, but I've seen him just a couple times. He tells me the buck run in front of him on the road and he accidentally run over it, but I saw the bullet hole. If he got caught, he'd have to pay $200 more than what he's got in the bank, I bet. We're in Shiloh now. Dad's crossing the bridge by the old abandoned grits mill, turning at the boarded up school, and for the first time, I can feel Shiloh's body begin to shake. He's trembling all over. I swallow, try to say something to my dad, and have to swallow again. How do you go about reporting someone who don't take care of his dog right? Who you fixing a report, Marty? Judd. If this dog's mistreated, he's only about 1 out of 50,000 animals, that is, Dad says. Folks even bring him up here in the hills and let him out. Figure they can live on rats and rabbits. Wouldn't be the first dog that wasn't treated right. But this one come to me for help, I insist. Knew that's why he was following me. I got hooked on him. Dad, and I want to know he's treated right for the first time. I could tell Dad's getting impatient with me. Now you get that out of your head right now. If it's Travers's dog, it don't mind. It's no mind of ours how he treats it. This country slang got me all tongue twisted. What if it was a child? I asked him, getting too smart for my own good. If some kid was shaking like this dog was shaking, you wouldn't feel no pull for keeping an eye on him. Marty, Dad says. Now his voice is just plumped tired. This here's a dog, not a child, and it's not our dog. I want you to quit going on about it. Here? I shut up then, let my hands run over Shiloh's body, like maybe everywhere I touch I can protect him somehow. We're getting closer to the trailer where Judd lives with his other dogs, and already they're barking up a storm. Hearing Dad's Jeep come up the road, Dad pulls over. You want to let him out, he says. I shake my head hard. I'm not letting him out here till I know for sure he belongs to Judd. I'm asking for a slap on the face, but Dad don't say anything. He just gets out, goes up the boards Judd had laid out in place of a sidewalk. Judd's at the door of his trailer, already in his undershirt, peering out. Looks like Ray Preston, he says through the screen. How you doing, Judd? Judd comes out of the little porch he's built out of the side of his trailer. They stand up there a while talking. Up here in the hills, you hardly ever get down to business right off. First you say your howdies, then you talk about everything else, about what you've come for, and then finally, the mosquitoes start to bite you. So then you say what's on your mind. But you always edge into it, not to offend anyone. I can hear the little bits of talking about the rain and the truck and blah, 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 blah. Shiloh lays low in my lap. And then the awful words. Say, Judd, my boy was up here in the river this afternoon, and the beagle followed him home. Don't have any tags on his collar, but I'm remembering you got yourself a new hunting dog. Could this one might be yours? I'm thinking this is a bad mistake. Judd hardly lets him finish. He starts off across the muddy yard in the boots. Sure as heck bet it is, he says. Can't keep the coon dog home to save my soul. Every time I take him hunting, he runs off before I'm through. I can hear Judd's heavy footsteps coming around the side of the Jeep, and I can smell his chewing tobacco, strong as coffee. Yep, he says, thrusting his face open in the open window. That's him, all right. He opens the door. Get down here, he says. And before I can even give the dog one last pat, Shiloh leaps off my lap into the ground and connects with Judd's foot. He yelps and runs off behind the trailer, tail tucked down, belly to the ground. So, the dog jumped out. Judd kicked him. Signs of reasons why we don't like Judd. So, Marty gave us 4 reasons why he doesn't. This is probably going to be his 5th. I jump out of the Jeep too. Please don't kick him like that, I say. Some dogs just like to run. He runs all over God's creation, Judd says. I can tell he's studying me in the dark, trying to figure out what it's like and what he wants. I'll keep an eye out for him, I say. Anytime I see him away from home, I'll bring him back, I promise. Just don't kick him. Judd only growls. He could be a fine hunting dog, but he tries my patience too much. I'll leave him be tonight. But if he wanders off again, I'll whoop the daylights out of him. Guarantee you that. I swallow and swallow all the way home. I can't speak a word and hold back tears. So, Marty's very upset. Marty does not like or agree with the words of wisdom that his dad gives him. His dad says, it's not your dog, it's not your problem. So Marty's very, very, very upset. So again, I ask you, connect with the book. And then think, even though this is backwards, what happens when you don't agree with words of wisdom? So what did Marty do in response to not liking the words of wisdom that were given to him? Why did Marty react the way he did? Think about it. Come up with some things. And I'm going to just try to post this in our teams instead of on YouTube so we can have a discussion about it. So it can be like as if we were in class. Think about the words of wisdom that were given to Marty. He did not agree with them. What did he do in reaction to that? What are we learning about all the characters now? We're learning more about Marty. We're learning more about Dad. And we're learning about this Judd character. Do you think that this Judd character is going to be an issue? Do you think that he's just going to vanish and somehow Shiloh be saved? We don't know. So these are things that you need to start wondering. Start wondering as we're reading so you can pick up on it. All right, guys, that is Shiloh chapter 2. Yes, I read the whole chapter to you because I want to get it done and over with, because I want to get through this story because I have another one that I want to start reading too. And that's a lot of becauses and a lot of run-on sentences and too many conjunctions in one sentence, making it a run-on sentence. Okay, anyways, all right, love you guys. See you soon, and I'll be posting this for you.